Greetings and salutations. How to record music, episode 2. So in this episode we'll be looking at using drum VSTs. Last week we did guitars, now we're going to put some drums over those guitars. So this process is very similar to doing the guitars in a way, except that this time we'll be using MIDI to create the drums. Now you can do this in two ways. You can use MIDI grooves from the actual program, or you can create the drum grooves yourself. I will give you a few free options to download, but I would recommend later on maybe upgrading to a paid version. So let's move over to my computer, I'll show you how to install the VST, and then we'll make some drum grooves. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content, and enjoy indeed. Thanks guys. Okay guys, here we are in Reaper again, leaving off from last week where we had just 2 guitar tracks, okay? So I've taken a riff out of one of my other songs just to use as an example. That sounds like this. Okay, so it was really hard to decide on what drum program to use. I wanted to use something that's free, but also have MIDI grooves in it so that you can use MIDI grooves to get an idea of what things sound like. And how to build drums without having to start straight off with building drums, if that makes any sense. So I decided to go with Slate Drums 5, okay? So what we want to do first is we want to go to Slate Drums Free in Google, go up to here, SSD5 free. And when you log in here, you come up here to the products, and you'll see here SSD 5.5 free. Okay, once we go there, you want to try SSD 5.5 free now, okay? Now you will have to create an account, okay? It's free, but you just create an account. It will give you the download and everything. Once you download it, install it. I can't do it all because I've already got an account. I've already installed Slate Drums. I own the full product. So you just download it, install it. Pretty much the same way I showed you how to install your your guitar programs. Put your VSTs in, then you want to go back into Reaper and make sure it's there. If you have any dramas, just message me in the comments or whatever, and I'll try to get back to you and help you out, help you through this as much as I can. It's just hard for me to show this part of installing it. It's like installing most other programs, so you shouldn't have a problem with it. Just install it, and then we'll go back to okay, once we're in Reaper, we've got our 2 guitar tracks, okay? So like I showed you last week, double click in the left panel to get a track up, okay? Then we're going to go to the effects, right here on the effects button. Now, yours should be in new, okay? Right here under all plugins, new, because you've just installed it. It should be here. If not, head down to the developers section, go to Slate, and as you can see here, I've got SSD Sampler 5. That's what we want. Okay, so we're going to double click on that. Now, this is what it should start with, okay, just like this. Now, I have all the kits because I have the full paid version, but you're going to have the free dry and tight, which is this kit. Then you're going to have the free Deluxe 2 free edition. And the free Hugo. Okay. So what we're going to work with is just double click on the free Hugo, okay? And it should load it up. So any of these kits, the 3 kits that you've got, if you double click on them, you'll see it loads it in, and then you're set to go. It'll tell you on the left over here, dry and tight. I've got loaded up. If I double click on the free edition, it'll load that kit, but we're just going to double click on the free Hugo, load up that kit. This one actually has 2 snares, one here and one here. They blend them together to make a larger snare. So on the left down here, you have what's called grooves, okay? I'm pretty sure that the free version comes with some grooves. So what you want to do is go over to the grooves, and there should be something here. I'm pretty sure they have rock grooves in it. So we're just going to go to the rock grooves. Whatever grooves you have, just click on that. Now, I always click on autoplay down here. So that's highlighted, okay? That way, when you click on a groove over here, it'll automatically play and you can hear what it sounds like. It saves you clicking on it, push play, click on it, push play. So what we're going to do is you'll have some grooves here, whichever ones you have in your free version. I can't remember what's in the free version, guys, because I've had the paid version for so long. So, and then you pick your category here. You got straight grooves or you got shuffle grooves. For a straight metal track, you probably just want the straight grooves, okay? So click on one, we'll just go to the one at the top. Now you got your intros, your verses, your pre-choruses. These are organized into songs, okay? So we'll just go to the verse. If you want to stop it, you just push the stop button. So as you can see, as soon as I click on it, it starts playing. Now, if you turn autoplay off, you can click on it and then push play. And it will just play to the end and stop, okay? So what we're going to do now is, so we've got my song. Now we can just pick any groove, okay? So what happens is that whatever you set your beats per minute down here at, the drums will play at, okay? So they will automatically match the time signature of the song, which is fantastic. You don't have to worry about matching time signatures or anything like that. So if I just get this here, I can click and hold, grab, and drag this across onto this track that the drum tracks are on, okay? Now this is what we call a MIDI, okay? This is a MIDI track. So basically in here, you have hits on the thing, on the MIDI panel that correspond with what's in the drums. So if I go to the drum track, if I click on this, you see it lights up. Just down on the bottom right there, it lights up the corresponding hit. So that is obviously a symbol. That is like the right symbol. That is obviously the left symbol. Then up here we have hi-hat, more hi-hat, because you use different hi-hats. That's a quieter one. Okay, then we go up. Oh, we're obviously going down. Here's the rest of it. Go down, we have, this will be the kick drum. So you got the kick drum, this will be the snare. Okay, so you can see if I play here, the corresponding hits will go along with the drums down here. Now, obviously that groove does not work in any way, shape or form with my song. Okay, so what you got to do is try to find something that will suit your song just to start off with. Okay, so we go back to the grooves. Now, another thing I found is you can hear that's a very fast groove, okay? So if I play it, it's very fast. You know, let's see what else we got. Okay, so because they're fast, what we can do is down here in the actual drum program, you see down here they have half times. So you can click on that and that will slow the drum beat down to half time. Now when I drag that into Reaper, it will play back at half time. And it's as simple as that, guys. The secret is here trying to find something that fits your song, you know. In a minute, I will show you how you can go about building your own MIDI grooves. Here, look, we'll try this beat just in there, nice and simple. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is you can just drag the grooves over, trying to find something that you want to use and put them into your songs, okay? Now the other way we can do this, is this way. So I've got my riff. Now that's one measure of the riff, from there to there, okay? So what we can do, find the end of the riff, hold Control on the track with the drums, and then click drag, okay? This is going to create a MIDI, okay? We double click on the MIDI. Now this is the time consuming part because you should set this up so you always know. Okay, now when I click on here, on the sides here, you can see that it's giving me noise, okay? So what we have to do is create ourselves a MIDI template so we know exactly where things are when we're building the MIDI groove. Okay, so obviously that's a kick drum, okay? 36. So what you want to do is click on 36. Now this is going to be time consuming because you have to do this with all of them, okay? Click on 36, go up to File, not up the top, on the MIDI take here. So to get into the MIDI take, you just double click on it, okay? So I'll start from the beginning quickly. Find the end of your riff. Okay, so the end of my riff is here. Hold Control, click, drag. Okay, that'll give you a blank MIDI groove, okay? A blank one. Double click on it, it'll bring up the MIDI window. So then what we want to do is organize our drums. You only have to do this once, okay? It's very time consuming at the start, but if you do this once, then it's sorted out. Okay, so like I said before, we've got the kick drum. Okay, this is your kick drum. Now you got to find the corresponding number that goes with your kick drum. As you can see there, 36. Look, 36. So you click on 36, then you go up here, File, and then you want to go down to Note CC Names, rename last click note. Okay, so if I click on that, it'll come up with Edit Note Name. And then we're going to write kick, because we know that's the kick drum. Push OK. That is now named as the kick drum. Okay, so you always know that if you're going to put a MIDI note on, oops, sorry. If you're going to put a MIDI note on there, then that's going to be the kick drum. So if I click here, always make sure you got snap to grid on too, up here, okay, snap to grid. If I double click, that'll give me a MIDI note, okay? Anywhere you double click is going to give you a MIDI note. So now, if I push play using the spacebar, you can use the spacebar for play and stop. If I push play, it's going to give me drum hits. Okay, so you have to go through and find out where everything is on the MIDI window on the side here. Okay, so there's my snare. Okay, so 38 is my snare. So again, click on it. You have to click on it first to activate that note. Okay, so you click on it, up to File, Note CC Names, rename last click note. It'll come up with the note name, right? Snare. Okay, it's that simple. So you got your kick drum. Every alternate note, what we're going to do, count 4, 1, 2, 3. Count 2. Well, I suppose if we're going off lines, it's 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then on the next one, we want to put a dot on the snare. Then we'd have 1, 2, 3 on the bass. You have to include the note that you start on. So that'll be the note. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So bass. Then we click on here. So we're going to alternate the bass and the snare. Okay. Now, honestly, you want to go through and name everything before you're doing all this. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to delete that. I'm going to load up a previous note names that I've already done. So Slate Drums. As you can see, I have all mine named. Okay. So we have the kick, snare edge, snare. These are actually called the snare rims. I just call them the edge. I don't know why. And then we've got a rim shot. Okay, so we have the kick. Once you've named all these, you'll be able to see that you can just hit where they are and it'll be great. Okay, so we've got the kick, okay? So to build a simple bass, simple drum beat, you have to sort of understand drums. So most drums will start with a kick, okay? Then a cymbal at the same time. And whenever you do a cymbal hit, you should always do a kick hit at the same time, because without it, it just sounds like this. Let me just solo this track so you haven't got guitars. See, there's no hit behind it. A cymbal should always have a kick with it or a snare with it. So it should sound, it gives it a nice hit. Okay, so we're going to keep it simple. We'll do a hi-hat, okay? Now, the hi-hat should be like this. Every second line, I'm just trying to do something simple here, guys. I hope this helps you. Make sure it's on the line, because if it's not, it's going to sound off. Okay. Now, always remember, up here you've got a button called Snap to Grid. Make sure that is on, not off. Because if I turn it off, these will just go anywhere. And you don't want that. You want them on the grid. Okay, so Snap to Grid should be on. Okay, so at the start, we don't want that first hit on the hi-hat there. We've got a hit on the drum and the cymbal, and then just a hi-hat going along. Now the hi-hat is what keeps everyone in time, okay? Then we're going to alternate the snare in the middle here, then another kick drum, then a snare, then a kick drum, then a snare, kick drum, snare. Okay, this is the most basic beat a drummer can do. Okay, and this is what it sounds like when you play it all together. That is as simple as basic beat, guys. Okay, so remember, rename all your things so you know where everything is. It should be corresponding with this. So I've got my right cymbal. See, right cymbal, left cymbal, left cymbal. Hi-hat. Now there's a bunch of different hi-hats, okay? So you got hi-hat tip. That's just a little hit. Hi-hat open. Hi-hat mid. So they've closed the hi-hat a little bit more. Then you got hi-hat closed. And then a hi-hat tight. Okay. Now with the ride, you've got the ride. You've got the ride bell. Then you've got the ride edge. So you see I've named them corresponding to what is there. Toms. For some reason my thing's a little off. I don't know what's going on, but I had to reinstall everything, but you get the general idea. So back to this. This is the most basic beat you can do. Kick drum, snare, kick drum, snare, kick drum, snare, with a hi-hat running through it the whole time. Very simple. Now if I turn that on with the guitars, you will see it's very simple, but you'll get the general idea that this is how you put drums to your guitars. Now because I only wrote it to the end of that riff, what I can do is the same way I showed you with the guitars, okay? I can get this, hold control, click on the MIDI, copy it, drag it across and put it at the end. That way it will play twice. Very simple. Okay, now another thing you can do with the MIDI tracks, okay, to make it a little bit more interesting. Now, we did the first measure on the hi-hat, okay? To make it a little bit more interesting, we could maybe do something simple. Change that cymbal hit to the right cymbal instead, just to diversify it. Now we can right-click, scroll over all these hits here, okay? Now what we can do is drag down and throw them on maybe the ride bell, okay? Make sure they stay on the line spot, okay? Because if you put them here, it's going to be off, okay? It's got to stay on the lines right there, okay? To keep it simple, I'm not going to go into, you know, half-time, off-time things and all that, because it's just going to confuse you guys that are just starting out. So you just want to put it simply, drag it down. See, it was up here on the hi-hat. You want to keep it in the same spot on this line, okay? So just, I've scrolled across them all, again, using my right mouse button, scroll across them all like that. Grab them, drag them down to whatever you want to put them on. Now let's say I want to put them on the ride bell, okay? So now the riff before, as you can see, I didn't have to put it all in again, guys. I just dragged it down to change up that hand, okay? So the riff before was on the hi-hat. Now the second part of it will be on the right. It's that simple. Now, let's say for the second time of the riff, we want to go fast, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to create a new MIDI track. So again, that is in the blank area of the drum, hold control, click your left mouse button and then drag across. That will create a new MIDI item. Double click. Okay, so what we're going to do now, before we were going this slow. Okay, so we go. Okay, let me zoom in a bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Okay, so before we were going this slow. Okay, so we go one hit and then we go to the second measure here, and then one hit here, and then one hit here. Okay, so we were going this slow before, which is a nice slow groove beat. Now, if we want to speed that up, is all we have to do is start again, shorten the time between the hits. So, okay, so we've got a hit there. Before we were here, now we're going to drag the snare here, okay? And then do the same all the way along, okay? Just by double clicking. Now, a quick way to do this is if you're just doing something simple and keeping it even. Okay, so we create the first bit. Now, so we've got this. So you can see it's already faster, but we want it to go the whole length. Okay, so what we can do is just do two, like that. Again, everything in this is copy and paste. It makes it so much quicker and easier on yourselves. Right click, drag across them all, okay? Hold Control, left click on them, and then you can copy them all at once and just drag them like that, okay? And do that twice, and bang, it's all the way along. See? Now at the start, again, you always want a cymbal hit. It just accentuates the start of the riff, okay? Now this time, because we're getting a bit faster, we might go with, we might go for the right cymbal, okay? So we're going to do every second hit like this and see how that sounds. There we go. So now it should sound like this. But you can see that cymbal, that second cymbal is going too slow. So again, scroll over, Control, grab, drag to fill it out. And we're missing one at the end, double click, bang. Now it should sound better. And you can see we only done half the measure of the riff. So again, hold Control, click on the MIDI, drag, copy and paste. So now when we play the whole riff, it starts off slow on the hi-hat, then it goes to the ride, then we're going to speed up the tempo. It's not speeding up the tempo, it just feels like it is because the drums get faster. And we're going to head over to the cymbal. Okay, if you watch it on here play out. And that's how simple it is to create drums, guys. So, after that, we can accentuate certain parts of the drums, okay? So if we go back into the first measure, okay, what we can do is put extra kick hits in. Okay, we'll keep it simple for now. We'll leave the snare as is. Okay, so we got... Okay, very basic beat. So what we can do is we can put extra kick hits. So we might want to do a double each time, okay, like this. So now when we play, now we got doubles. We can do triples. Or we could do triples on one, doubles on the next, and then triples on one, okay? So this is how easy it is to make drums and get them interesting, okay? That's it. Literally that's it, guys, and you just have to experiment from there. Like I could maybe take that hi-hat out, put a double hit on the snare here, just to finish off the riff. And there we have it. The only other thing you want to put in is maybe at the end of this two like measures of the same riff here, you go to your grooves, okay? And like again, I said, I'm not sure what you guys will have in the free version, but I'm pretty sure it comes with some grooves. So if you click over here, then what you want to do is you want to scroll down on this side, and at the bottom, you're going to have fills, okay? Now it'll tell you whether it's 1 bar or 2 bars or anything. So if I click on this, I've got it very slow because I've got it on halftime. We'll put it back up to normal. Okay, so you've got a fill. So what, as you can see with a fill is this long, okay? I've just put it on a new track. It won't play because I haven't got any effects on that track. So what we want to do is drag it to a new track, okay? So you can see how long the fill is, okay? Right there. Now, what we want to do is click on this one here. Now, when you see I scroll to the end of it, it gets this little arrow thing, okay? Don't scroll right across till it's 2 arrows. You just want to get to the end of it. So it's just 1 arrow like that, okay? Then you're going to click it and then drag it back, okay? Just like that. Very simple. Then what you can do is get this fill and drag it into that spot so it fits perfectly, okay? Now when I play, at the end of this, it's going to play that fill. So you'll notice when you listen to music, there's always fills in the drums. That's what you want to do. If I want to do another one, let's say I get very simple one down there. So again, drag it into this here so you know how long it's going to be. See, in my head, I know how long it's going to be. So I would have already previously dragged this back, just dragged it straight onto there. But just to save yourself any trouble, so you know how long it's going to be, again, I'll delete that, click, hold, drag it out, okay, onto a track below it. So you can see exactly how long it's going to be. Wait till you see the little arrow, click and hold that one, drag it back, drag this up, then that will put the fill at the end, okay? It's the easiest way I've found to do it. Keeps it simple, doesn't make anything messy. So now from the start, just from all that, this is what we've created. See, very simple, guys, very simple. Now, as far as drum construction goes, I like to keep it interesting. I don't like to have the same beat going for too long, and especially if you change the riff, sometimes even if you don't change the riff, change the drums, because it can just change the whole feel of a song. Like say I went into that fast bit there, right? Now let's say I delete this fast bit, because you can see it goes twice in the fast bit. Now, see, to make that more interesting, I would delete this, okay? Then I would copy this one here over to here, okay? Then what I'd do is I would get, because see, this one slows down. But you don't want it to drop off too much with those, with that ride. So what I would do is delete that ride, okay? Then I'd maybe go with the right edge, so you can see it's a symbol, and I would keep it more slow on that hand, because the slower the hand is, the slower it seems. Okay, so what I'm doing here is we start off slow, then we speed up for this little section, and then we drop back to slow again, just to make the riff more interesting. We've got those fills in the ends of the riffs, makes it even more interesting. Now to break that, it drops out very suddenly here. So to break that fast to the slow back up, again, I'd probably just quickly put in a fill. Something simple, maybe like that even. So again, put it where it's got to be at the end, so you know how long it is. Click on this one, wait for the little arrow. Like I said, don't go 2 arrows because you're going to drag that one with it, okay? So you want to wait for the little arrow by itself. Go drag it in, click on that one, put it up. I don't know why I put 2 in, but anyway. Then as you can see, just from constructing those drums, it's made the riff so much more interesting. It's the same riff 4 times. But putting different tempos of drums in there, you know, faster, slower, it just makes the riff so much more interesting. And that's what you want in your song, is to make the song as interesting as possible using everything that you have. Could be a simple riff, but it's made more interesting by the other instruments in it. Now, if I quickly chuck the bass in here, which I'm going to cover next week, and honestly, that's pretty much it, guys. There's nothing else you can really say about drums. I've covered all the basics. That's the bases it's going to get. As you go along, you'll pick up more things, learn more things. There's a lot of great resources on the internet to help people. I just wanted to show you how you can get started for free, get into recording, and that's it. So next week, I'm going to cover bass guitar. I'll show you a couple of good bass tricks and good free bass plugin to download to get you started. I'm mainly concentrating on metal here, but there's 2 bass plugins that I really like, one for really nice clean smooth bass and one for distorted bass for heavy metal guitars. So other than that, I hope this video is informative and I hope it helps somebody, and I'll see you next week. Enjoy indeed. Thanks, guys.